Hi, everybody. In our previous lecture, we spoke about the transcendence of the Most High in African traditional religion, an attribute which makes of him a separate being and knowing no evil. In this new lecture, we will address the notion of the immanence of the Supreme Being in the religion bequeathed to us by our ancestors, a notion relating not only to the liberating presence of the Most High in creation, but also to the fact that everything that really exists is His manifestation.
Welcome to the channel Zilalowa of Dr. Yaluka. To begin, please subscribe and tick the notification bell in order not to miss our videos. Thank you for joining.
The theme of our lecture is the immanence of the Most High in African traditional religion. But before tackling it, we will first proceed with the usual introductions. We will introduce to you the speaker that I am and his Academy Dilaloa. We will then scientifically establish the notion of the immanence of the Most High, thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument, that is, to systematic natural theology, because this systematic natural theology constitutes the strong points and particularity of African traditional religion as an exact science. Finally, the development of our theme will follow. I'm Dr. Kiatezwa Banzajo Yaluka. I hold a PhD honor in theology from Trinity Graduate School of Apologetics and Theology of Kerala in India. I'm therefore an apologist, and as such, I created Nzilaloa, which is a modern academy of African traditional religion. Nzilaloa comprises two branches: an academic branch, which is called Institut des Sciences Animiques. Within the frame of this branch, I make researches, and I published 32 scientific papers that are available at www.academia.edu. And I authored 15 books that are available at amazon.com. So Ndilalwa comprises two branches, as I said. The first branch is the Institut des Sciences Animiques, and the second branch is called also Nzila Loa. That is an initiatory branch. Within the setting of the second branch, we introduce the African people, the Black people, to the divine practice of African traditional religion. I say divine practice because many people don't know that African traditional religion can be practiced at the divine level or at the human level. At the divine level, which is the level followed by a minority of people, most of them are found among the Bantu people. In this higher level, the divine practice of African traditional religion it relies on the purification of thought and the succor of holy ancestors, those who are called in Kikongo Bakulu Bamaza, the ancestors who abide in water. Water here is the symbol of purity, holiness. The purpose of the initiate in the divine practice is, first of all, to become back an Osiris, that is, a child of God, a Malungil, as it is said in Bukongo. The second one is to heal through the purification of thoughts. The third is to develop a power through the purification of thought always, and that power will be perpetuated through faith as a human power. And the last objectives, the last aim of the initiate is to fight witchcraft through the means of love and truth. In the divine practice, one cannot use witchcraft in order to fight witchcraft because that will amount to using bad one's purity, and it will amount to losing one's power. This is the divine practice. Aside the divine practice, we have the practice of the majority of people, which is the human practice. In the human practice, the initiates use his power in order to organize, elevate, protect society. In this practice, which is the practice of the majority of the black people, the power which originally was developed in the divine practice and transmitted in the human through faith, that power relies on the sacre of the spirits of nature, be Simbi in Bukongo. So we have the two practices, but both works together and both participate in the organization of African culture, the Black civilization. We need to understand both of them in order to bring back the power, the development that Africa enjoyed in yester time. As such, our academy is a Kemet academy because we make a reference to ancient Egypt, to Kama. However, our Kemetism is different from the other people Kemetism that we call traditional Kemetism. And you bother, what is the difference between both? Traditional Kemetism started during the years 1970. It is an eclectic movement seeking the reconstruction of the religion of ancient Egypt by using induction and speculation. Usually it is an anti-biblical Bible movement, and it is a religion belief as all the religion of the world are. Neo-Kemetism, which is our approach, started in 2008. It started with the discovery of the Kemetic cosmological argument, a deductive argument that states the essential doctrines of a salvational religion, solar religion. And thanks to this argument, we can make comparative study and show that it is exactly the doctrines of the religion of ancient Egypt, of Sumer, and of the Congo religion, the Congo, so that we conclude that the Congo is a continuity of the religion of ancient Egypt. Because the Kemetic cosmological argument is a deductive approach, it results in a set of deductive coherent doctrines. According to epistemology, it is an exact science. Therefore, the congruence of the religion of ancient Egypt, of Sumer, and of Congo with the Kemetic cosmological argument proves that these religions were or are also exact science. And because we can make the comparative study in order to see what in the Bible belongs to us and what doesn't belong to us, we don't reject the biblical teaching in a whole. No, we claim the spiritual truths that are embedded there as having been taken from our ancestors. The theme of our lecture is the immanence of the Most High in African traditional religion. But before to, to tackle this, I'm going first to establish the concept, the notion of the immanence of God, thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument. For the sake of this lecture, we can briefly introduce this argument in this way. I'm an individual being. You are individual beings. Therefore, this temporal universe in which we abide is an individual entity. The individual nature of this temporal universe implies that it is the work of an individual cause, an individual creator. Now, the individual nature of this creator begs, in the infinity of possibility, the existence of other similar creators. Some of them may not have yet created their universes, but they exist. Thus, we have effective creators and potential creators. Here, I introduce an hypothesis which is not indispensable, but which I use in order to bring concision to my demonstration. The hypothesis is this one. Every creation exists in its creator. So provided this hypothesis, if we take an entity which includes all the potential and effective creator, we have an entity which is the greatest possible being. Because any things we imagine will exist in its creator, and the creator will exist in this entity. So this entity is the greatest possible being, therefore it is the most high. Thus, we come to the conclusion that the most high must be indivisible and immutable. Because if he were not, there might be a principle of his mutability and divisibility, and that principle must be greater than the greatest possible being. That is greatest than the Most High, which is impossible. So the Most High is indivisible, and the Most High is immutable. Let us add another attribute. The Most High is transcendence. Now, by transcendence, we don't mean only that he is above everything. That we know. By transcendence in Africa, we mean that the Most High doesn't know evil. Because due to his absolute indivisibility, in him to know and to be are one and the same thing. If God knows evil, then he must be infinitely good and infinitely bad, which is an aberration. Thus, we conclude that the Most High is transcendent, that is, he doesn't know evil, he is above everything, he is indivisible, he is immutable. Now, we have seen that every creator expresses an individuality which is included in the Most High. However, the Most High is indivisible. So it results from this that every creator, every potential and effective creator expresses the manifests the fullness of the Most High, but in an individual way. That fullness of the Most High is what we call the Logos. So we have three entities here. We have the Most High, we have the creators and we have the Logos. To make the matter short, we will be calling from now on the Most High God. By God, we don't mean the Anglo-Saxon birded being in the sky. No, we mean what is meant by the Kemetic cosmological argument. That is, a supreme being who is the ultimate cause and who is transcendent, who is absolutely immutable and indivisible. That is God. Here may intervene a question. Where does our temporal universe exist in relation to the Most High? We know that it exists in its creator, that is by hypothesis, but not in relation to the Most High, to God. Creation cannot be in God. How otherwise, at the moment of its appearance, something new will appear in God and God will change. Now we have seen that God is absolutely immutable. So creation cannot be in God. Creation cannot be also outside of God, because if it were outside of God, then creation added to God will result in an entity greater than God, which is also impossible. So creation is neither in God, neither outside of God. The answer is that creation is only an appearance, a limited perspective of the celestial realm in the temporal consciousness of the Creator. Reality is the invisible, the spiritual. The visible material universe is only a limited perception of reality. So we have learned three basic things in this argument. First of all, we have learned that all reality is in the Most High. There cannot be a reality outside of God. Otherwise, that reality added to God will result in an entity greater than God, greater than the greatest possible being. So all reality is in the Most High. All reality is spiritual. Matter is not the reality of being. It is just an appearance. You and I are not spiritual beings. This material appearance we seem to manifest is a lie. That means that the limitation that we seem to endure is a lie. Second thing we have learned is that everything that really exists is the manifestation of the Most High. Everything that really exists is the manifestation of God. Third thing we have learned here is that being absolutely immutable, the Most High is inseparable from his manifestation. Taken together, these three propositions translate the notion of the immanence of the Most High, the immanence of Nzambi Ampungu Tulendo. About this notion of the immanence of God, we learned from Google. The immanence of God means his liberating presence in us, through us, and below us, a presence which gives us the power to free ourselves from the oppressive reality of sin and lies. The immanence of God, therefore, implies that through the Logos, the manifestation of his fullness, the Most High is present in each element of creation, thus offering a rampart against evil. Regarding the Logos, the Kemetic cosmological argument shows us that the Most High is absolutely indivisible. Now, each creator or each child of God manifests an individuality included in the Most High, as we have seen. Thus, by virtue of the absolute indivisibility of the Supreme Being, each child of God manifests the fullness of God in a unique way. And we say that we will call this fullness the Logos. On the eternal celestial plane, the Logos is the star of the ancient Egyptian, the Mpinanza of the Bukongo, the Christ of the Christian. Speaking of the immanence of the Most High, the Bukongo, the Congo religion affirms that Nzambi ikalunga, walungila mumamo yemubiabio, which literally means that the Most High is Kalunga, the omnipresent. He is all in all. In other words, everything that really exists is a manifestation of the Supreme Being, a manifestation of his substance and his activity. Now, the notion of the immanence of the Most High is a practical notion. Let me illustrate this through the cure that was made by a young man that we will call Lemba in order to hide his identity. Lemba had a problem. His house was invaded by bed bugs. Those bed bugs were everywhere, in the beds, in the clothes, everywhere. And Lemba decided to use prayer in order to get rid of these insects, these bugs. His reasoning was as follows. God, the creator of Noah, the atom of ancient Egypt, made everything in his image and likeness. And everything that he made, he pronounced good. Therefore, the bedbugs were created good. They were created not in order to harm people. They were created by God, not in order to invade the house of you and me. Because God is love, God is truth, and truth cannot include error. So the belief in parasitism he rejected. knowing that God feeds all his ideas with love, with truth. He clung on this reasoning. Prayer is about reasoning, starting from the perfection of God. We deduce the perfection of man, who is his image and likeness, and we reject all that is contrary to that perfection. Thanks to this kind of reasoning, Lemba overcome the invasion of the bedbugs that completely disappeared from his house. This example of healing shows that the immanence of the Most High is a practical notion and not a simple dogmatic theory. Thus, the immanence of the Most High offers humanity the hope of spiritual healing because it implies that sin, sickness, and death can only exist for the glory of God. They can only exist to the extent that they are an opportunity for you and me to demonstrate, to prove their nothingness by starting from the fact that God is all in all. He is Kalunga. As we pointed above, in a practical manner, the immanence of the Most High is the omnipresence of the Logos, the omnipresence of the fullness of God in us and around us. Given the transcendence of the Most High and the hierarchy of the divinities, the Logos manifests itself around us through the presence of holy ancestors who surround and protect us. And the same Logos manifests itself in us through the presence of the holy ancestors in us as principles that animate us in their nature of divine spirits. Bakisi Banlom. This naturally should remind you of the dual nature of the notion of Nkisi, a notion falsely translated as fetish following the demonization of Congo culture by Western missionaries. This African traditional notion actually alludes to power and spirit. Nkisi has power becomes in plural Minkisi, and Nkisi has spirit becomes in plural Vakisi. Thus interpreted from the angle of Nkisi, the immanence of the Most High is his protective presence, which surrounds us through the presence of the holy ancestor around us, just as it is also the presence of the Most High in us through the holy ancestor as the Bakisi, the divine spirits that animate us. However, it is important to emphasize that the immanence of God never violates the free will assigned to human beings and to divinities by the supreme being. In other words, although the Most High is immanent, he does not force his love towards us. The immanence of the Supreme Being leaves us the freedom to enjoy His presence or not. It is therefore up to each of us to open ourselves to the double manifestation of the fullness of the divine love so that it impacts our existence. And the way to open ourselves to the fullness of the Supreme Being is the purification of thoughts. To the extent of our purity, we live our nature as Osiris, as Malungila, as a child of God. Nature, which is none other than the manifestation of the Logos on the temporal plane, the Horus of the ancient Egyptian, the Kibalungila of the Bukongo, the Christ of the Christian. In conclusion, for traditional African religion, the Most High God, Nzambi Ampungu to land, although being transcendent, is immanent. Through the manifestation of His fullness, the Most High is present in each one of us and around each one of us. The immanence of the Supreme Being accepted through the purification of thought is a spiritual power of life which allows us to overcome sin, illness, and death. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share. More on this subject can be found on my books available at Amazon.